Lubricants. Lubricants are used in a bearing to reduce the friction, the rubbing surface, and to carry away the heat generated by the friction, which we already discussed. So basically, bearing LP, it requires lubrication. Lubrication after bearing topic, we have mentioned already. So the lubricants are used in the bearing to reduce the friction between the rubbing surface and to carry away the heat generated by the friction that it has to carry away. Now, it also protects the bearing against corrosion. This is next step. Oil applied can keep against registered corrosion also. Column लगता ना in your job when if you apply fine thin layer of oil, it will not get rusted. Same job piece if you kept for next day, it will get start rusting. है ना? So this is the way to protect the bearing surface also from the corrosion. And all lubricants are classified into following groups. This is we already discussed: liquid, semi-liquid, and solid group. So the liquid lubricants usually in the bearings are mineral oils and synthetic oils. Mineral oils are most commonly used because of their cheapness and stability. So these mineral oils are available in the industry, a petroleum product produced by artificial. Okay. So this mostly used because of their cheapness and stability. It's remain the stable for any temperature required in weather conditions. The liquid lubricants are usually preferred where they may be retained. If you take the coconut oil in winter season, you know what happens to coconut oil? If it gets squeezed, you know? Coconut oil squeeze, you know? Coconut oil, huh? In winter season, it will get, yeah. Your net problem, I granted you know. Or swim. Check your net check. But net, nobody is waiting. Check. So semi-liquid lubricant, this is a grease, best example, having the high viscosity than oils. So higher viscosity means the lubricant is thick, जाड असतं. Form of semi-liquid. हे कळलं पाहिजे. Viscosity property and शिकले परत. So just best example of high viscosity lubricant is a grease. Okay, viscosity चढ उरपल्या, it's very dark, thick, semi-liquid you can say. Then the grease are employed where slow speed and heavy pressure exit and where oil drip from the bearing undissolved. Solid lubricants, the best example of this solid lubricant is graphite. Now I permitted it. The reducing the friction where oil film cannot be maintained because the pressure. There is lots of pressure and temperature that times this type of liquids, semi-liquid or liquid lubricants not able to take. Then we can go for the solid lubricant. They should be softer than mineral by being lubricated. Graphite is the most common of the solid lubricant, either alone or mixed with the oil or grease. Can be used alone or it can be mixed with oil or grease. Now we will start the property of lubricant. Okay, there are 4 or 5 properties. First one is viscosity. Second property is called oiliness. I have mentioned already. Oiliness I mentioned. Then density I did mention over there that I mentioned. Then flash point. I mentioned fire point. I also mentioned. Pour point of freezing point that I did not mention that we discussed. So these are the following properties of the good lubricants. First is viscosity. It is measured by degree of fluidity of a liquid. Okay, it's measured how it's flow. When you remember the viscosity definition, just keep in mind the picture of tomato sauce, how it's coming. Okay, it has a high viscosity, so it takes a lot of time to come out. Okay, so that is it's a mostly the degree of fluidity, how it's come. Then physical property virtue of which an oil is able to form, retain, and offer resistance sharing buffer film under the heat and pressure. So this is a highest viscosity. This may be lower than this. This may be lower than this. This is low, and lowest viscous oil is this. Their example, the viscosity flow rate. The greater the heat and pressure, the greater the viscosity required of the lubricant to prevent thinning and squeezing out of the fluid. So whenever there is heat and there is more pressure, okay, greater heat and more pressure. In such environment, your normal of this oil liquid lubricant will not survive. Okay, that in that case you have to go for the higher viscosity lubricant. This is the general idea. For as an engineer, you should know. Suppose things chad heat jata, chad garam jata, we cannot put that lubricant, oil lubricant over it. Thicker one. Next, the viscosity of lubricant is measured by a Sebold universal viscometer. This is a viscometer that can measure it. Determine the required for standard volume of the oil at certain temperatures, flow rate under certain heat through a tube of standard diameters and lengths. So taking diameter of the tube, also the oil pass for the required time, how much time it takes. Based on that, viscosity is mentioned. And the various of absolute viscosity, the temperature for commonly used that is shown in the figure. So these are the serial number SE 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and you can see the absolute viscosity in kg per meter at a temperature in the degree centigrade. So these are they are mentioned here. 35, these are all temperature here, 90 degree, and all these are the absolute viscosity. Next is oiliness. Now, another property of lubricant is called oiliness. The lubricant should be a oiliness. Assume you lubricant use just somebody speaker on or off. So lubricant oil okay, it has all properties, but it doesn't have a oiliness. Chippy cast of oil, that property not take. So what it is, you just brought a thicker liquid and put it over. The oiliness has a layer. So that lubricant should have some oiliness. Oiliness property of oil. So you can see this is the helical gas. This is the picture of oil. These are the helical gas. The teeth are inside. So layer of oil is. Because of that oiliness, the property of the chip to nasa. Okay, because the lubricate. See the joint property of the lubricant and the bearing surface in contact. It is measure of lubricating qualities under the boundary condition where base metals to metal to prevent only by absorb the film. Because the film layer must absorb the oiliness is getting measured. There is no absolute measure of oiliness. Exactly oiliness measure but we can make out like layer of oil. It has to be. Next, density is another property of lubricant. The property has no relation to lubricating value, but it is useful in changing the kinematic viscosity to absolute viscosity. So density is the word up. It is relation to lubricating. There is no relation for the lubricating value, but useful changing the kinematic viscosity to absolute viscosity. Suppose if you want to check the kinematic to absolute viscosity, this density is required. So mathematically, you can calculate that absolute velocity is equal to P multiplied to kinetic viscosity in meter square per second. So meter square per second means this is what here meter is double meter square per second. This is the acceleration. Okay, it is not speed, it is acceleration, and where P is equal to density of the lubricating oil. Whatever P means, that is density of the lubricating oil. That you have to multiply to the kinematic viscosity, you will get a absolute viscosity. The density of the most of the oil at 15.5 degrees centigrade varies from 860 to 950 kg per meter cube. Viscosity index. How this viscosity index is mentioned? The viscosity index is used to denote the degree of variation of viscosity with temperature. This temperature viscosity vary the viscosity index maintained. This is all a lot of theory. That it's yeah, the flash point. This is a property you should remember. What is the flash point? Now suppose uh, the wall is in heat condition, okay, and the lubrication is going on continuously, and the temperature rising. At certain temperature, the oil starts giving flame, this thing fumes. If temperature when oil garam down, it will start giving fumes. Fumes no smoke is coming. Fumes in a so that point is the flash point. Okay, the oil when it is heated certain temperature and start giving the fumes, the atmosphere को vapor ऊपर आ fumes ऊपर आ that point of the lubricant is called flash point. Okay, same way fire point means what? Same heat condition the water get it catch fires. So sorry, lubricant get catch fires. So असे fume is झाले मुका नानी temperature वाढलं and at certain temperature all catch fires. Like a fire catch केली. That temperature is called, or that point is called fire point. Understood, no? This flash point and fire point both property you have to remember. The picture is just shown here. See, these are fumes have started coming of the oil. The oil is the fumes that is called flash point. The lowest temperature at which the oil gives off sufficient vapor to support the monetary flash without actually setting fire. Fire out, but it start giving fumes. Fire to the oil when the flames in brought in within 6 mm at the surface of the oil. This is flash point. Fire point means the temperature at which oil gives off sufficient vapor to burn it continuously when ignited. So vapor lagla and suddenly to ignite it will catch fire. That is your fire point of the lubricant. Flash point, fire point clear guys sagla. What is the flash point of lubricant? Clear झाले काय झालं? I forgot. So then 4 point of freezing point. 4 point of freezing point means the temperature at which an oil will cause case to flow when cooled. Temperature at which oil will case to flow when cooled. Suppose that oil start get freezing. In the cold condition, the oil start get where the temperature gets the oil start freezing. At the fire point, the flash point. Fire means catching the fire. Flash point means it started giving fumes. Magi fire only flash point then fire catch fire. That is fire point. And freezing point means now it's below temperature getting lower. At certain temperature, the oil getting start freeze. That is called 4 point of freezing point. So these are the just